So I just listened to a recording from Kirsten calling me in November of 2022. Okay. This was after she had an OFP put in place. Okay. Where for 34 days straight after she filed this OFP until the next hearing date. Okay. This was before our divorce. She didn't even have our children contact me. Okay. Not once for 34 days. When they could have called me every single day, FaceTime me. They could have even come visit. She could have dropped them off and they could have visited with me. The order of protection she filed was against me. Again, she filed it while she was living with her parents. And how this all came about was I started finding like weird stuff in my house. Okay? I had broken locks. One time I came home from Lifetime Fitness and my house was wide open. The front door was wide open. Okay. I was like, is somebody coming in my house? So one day I found a microphone in my daughter Coco's flashlight that Grandma Kathy, my mom, bought her. A red Snap-on flashlight. Okay. And this flashlight had like a green microchip in it that flashlights don't have. Okay. Which had an input and output and a microphone in it. So immediately I was like, oh my gosh, I need to go get my girls and bring them home. Okay. So I called my dad because I trusted him. I coached sports with him at the time. And my neighbors, who are all Muslim Brotherhood people, they put their kids, their young kids, in the same Rosemount First Baptist School as my children. Okay. After my children started going there, okay, about a couple months later, their young children started going there. My neighbor's right across the street. Okay, so I called my dad. This was in August, the beginning of the school year. Okay, August of 2022. I said, I'm going to pick up the girls. And my dad, it was like, he was basically trying to make me look crazy for finding, like I found a Raspberry Pi. Another thing I found on our Charter home network, which is it's like a spying device. It hooks up to your network and it connects to all your devices. If you know what Raspberry Pis are. So anyways, I called my dad and I told him I'm going to pick up the girls. So my dad, I didn't tell Kirsten again because it was my custody day, and there's never any issues with, like, if you were from Rosemount or you went to Lakeville Lifetime Fitness, you saw me with my girls. I'm the most protective dad in the world. Okay? So I thought it was in the best interest to just take my girls home. I went and picked them up at lunch. And at this school, I constantly brought my girls lunch. I went and ate lunch with them. Okay? I had picked them up early before on multiple occasions. But this time when I called my dad, he called the Rosemount police. Okay? That I didn't know about. And he told me that it was Kirsten. He told me that it was Kirsten. So if you listen to this recording that I just recorded of me and Kirsten's phone conversation, she admits that it was my dad who called the Rosemount police on me, his own son. Okay? I get to the First Baptist School and I said, I'm here to pick up my kids. And I could tell the people were acting very weird. I was wearing my workout gear still from Lifetime. I had my Montreal Canadiens shirt on. I was like, oh, and they're like, oh, just wait here. Can you just wait here for a little bit longer? They kept telling me, well, wait right here. I was like, this is weird. I'm getting out of here. I was like, all right, whatever. So my youngest daughter, Quinn, was at the monastery school, okay, with Maria. So I went to the monastery school to pick up Quinn, and I got Quinn. And I brought her home. And I was just at home with my daughter, okay? Like, trying to just piece together what's going on. And Quinn was fine. She's safe. There's, like, nothing, you know. I was literally thinking about stuff. About 10, 15 minutes later, after I got home from Quinn, the Apple Valley Police shows up, okay? Now, this was the police officer that, because in July, when me and my daughters were headed to church on a Sunday, we were playing out in the front yard before church, and the neighbors across the street that put their daughters their children, their grandchildren at First Baptist with my daughters, there was a guy who was taking pictures of us out their top left window. So I literally called the police on him. I was like, why the heck is this guy? He had a professional grade camera and like professional camera equipment. And he was dressed up as a nurse. Okay. And this house across the street, it was like a lodge. They constantly had new people coming in and out of it, staying in this room. Okay. So this police officer came in with another guy, Cody Yard. I'm sure Cody Yard has baseball cards of himself. He gives out to people. Okay. These two guys came into my house and took my daughter Quinn away from me. And this is while my dad and Kirsten both showed up. Okay. So shortly after this incident, my dad ordered Kirsten and helped her with filing fees and everything, okay, and legal advice, because he's very connected in Dakota County. He's been running truancy with, Dakota County Social Services his whole life, his whole career at Rosemont High School. So he knows Dakota County like the back of his hand. So Kirsten got this thing approved. For me going to pick up my daughters early from school, all they had to say, this is because my dad knows exactly what to say when they're trying to attack somebody. He's having grandiose thoughts, delusional tendencies, and he's going through psychosis. That's what my own dad said about me. The guy I coached sports with, like 3 different sports with at Rosemont High School. Okay? Well, why would my dad do something? Why was my dad so worried about what I was finding out about my neighbors, what I was finding in my house? This was just after my mother's death. Okay? Why was he so worried about it? Well, because my dad's in the Muslim Brotherhood. My dad is in the Muslim fucking Brotherhood. And it's hard for me to accept that as I grew up Christian. My dad grew up allegedly Christian, but he's Irish Catholic. And that's basically the Muslim Brotherhood. Okay? It's like the white version of the Muslim Brotherhood, Catholics. So that's why my dad called the police on me, because they think I'm investigating the Muslim Brotherhood. Like they think I work for law enforcement. I don't know who. Nobody would hire me. Okay? But that's why my dad had Kirsten file an OFP against me and take my kids away from me. That's why all this shit happened with my mom too. Okay? Because, the Muslim Brotherhood is involved with a lot of fraud. They're very good at it. They're very good at evading law enforcement, intimidating them, sending them fucking lots of low voltage shock waves and like framing people, destroying them, intimidating, like you name it. But that's how it all started. Like literally, like my daughters were everything to me. They still are, obviously, but they were my entire life. Like that's all I had. That's literally all I had left. After losing my mom, I lost all my money in the stock market. I literally had my daughters and my Bible and my books and my house. That was it. Lost my life savings, my retirement. Didn't have a job. And they literally took my girls away for going to pick them up from school early, for being, protective and cautious. It wasn't delusions or psychosis or grandiose thoughts. Those were listening devices in my house. A Raspberry Pi is a spying device. Okay? So I want people to understand that. And again, I wish if I could go back and do it. When you first start finding out all this stuff, you go in this like kind of anxiety, and especially when you're a protective father, like you have a lot of emotion. And that's all I was displaying. I wasn't hurting anybody. Okay? They didn't like what I was finding and what I was saying because I was right. So my own dad literally set me up and framed me back in 2022, and he did it over and over again. Now fast forward to my first arrest on on Christmas Eve, my custody day. After all this OFP stuff was done, the judge had ordered like parenting time and everything. It was my parenting day, Christmas Eve. Kirsten calls me the morning of, says, "Hey, can I take the girls to the cabin?" I'm like, "No, it's my custody day." And my dad says, "Hey," then he calls me after, "Hey, can I hang out with the girls?" I was like, "No, you people are staying away from my daughters. You helped have them take away from me, Dad. I don't want them near you." So I said no. Now again, after she filed this OFP with my dad against me, I filed for divorce. I'm representing myself in a divorce case. I sent her these divorce agreement, okay, and everything. And that was on these text messages I sent her about the divorce. She never replied. That was on December 6th, I think. Now this phone call that I just recorded from November of 2022, just shortly before this, as you can hear Kirsten, she's trying, because she knows I'm recording her, she's trying to say that she wanted the kids to spend time with me, all this other stuff. No, she did not. Otherwise, for 34 days straight, you would have had them call me at least. Okay? They were trying to put me through as much pain as possible. But Kirsten, on December 6th, got these text messages. And again, there's an OFP in place. And again, these text messages are talking about custody of our children, splitting up our debt, all of our possessions, who's going to get the proceeds to the house, all this stuff. It's not like a danger. I'm not threatening her. Okay? So fast forward, when they arrested me to Christmas Eve, they put the address of the arrest as Kirsten's parents' house. Like the Inver Grove Heights police, they weren't the ones to arrest me, but they're the ones to bring me to Dakota County Jail. So Apple Valley police officers, 4 of them, came to my house. I'm like, what is going on? So I let them in my house. I literally let them in, no problem. Like, what is going on here? And this big male black police officer, he's like, Andrew, and I was holding my daughter Quinn at the time. He's like, give me your daughter. Give me your daughter. Dude, it was like, what the fuck? Okay? So, and then this woman, Apple Valley police officer, they put me in handcuffs, no Miranda rights. Okay? Now, my address is on DuPont Path. This is where the actual arrest happened. No violation happened in Apple Valley you know what I mean? And no violation happened on Brent Avenue where Kirsten lives in Inver Grove Heights with her parents. Because again, I wasn't threatening her. I wasn't doing anything other than talking about what needed to be talked about. Like the judge said, for our family. Like this was about kids and who's going to get our assets. We were both representing ourselves. Okay? She didn't have a lawyer. I didn't have a lawyer. So Apple Valley police officers bring me to the Rosemount police station where there's Rosemount police officers. They pass me to the Rosemount police station, who passes me to the Inver Grove Heights police, who just pulled up in the Rosemount police station's parking lot. I was like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. None of them read me my Miranda rights. Not once. Okay? And then I get put in the back of this Inver Grove Heights police car with these 2 male officers. And they asked me, is this the phone number that you sent these text messages from? And I didn't want to reply. And they said, did you say this? One of you know what they said? I will always love, the text message said, Kirsten, I will always love you. I hope you find happiness. That's what I got arrested for. Now, I had to request the Dakota County Jail records, because once I got to Dakota County Jail, after being taken from my daughters in front of them in our own house on Christmas Eve, my one custody day with them before she gets them the next day, okay, all because I didn't let my dad and Kirsten take them to whatever they were going to do with them, their plans. I get to Dakota County Jail and I spend 5 days straight in a holding cell. Solitary confinement, all by myself. And on their records, I just got them yesterday, finally. Dakota County Jail says that the reason I was kept in a holding cell for 5 days straight, and they only allowed me 1 shower, they didn't allow me any gym time or free time to walk around, okay, was because they were examining my character. That's not a reason to hold somebody in a holding cell for 5 days straight. And again, I had just found out who the Mason, I just started learning about the Masons and Stones. I made some Facebook posts about, oh, it's the Masons and Stones. Nobody's ever called them that, their real name. They're called their covers are Illuminati and Freemasons and all those crazy like secret society names. That's none of them. That's like their covers. So when I figured out it's the Masons and Stones, some chop wood, some fill water, everybody plays a role. This is another part of the reason why they did it. Okay? So at Dakota County Jail, I spent 5 days straight in solitary confinement. I never released like I wasn't going through a mental health crisis. I wasn't going through grandiose thoughts or delusions or psychosis. I was just talking about the Masons and Stones, and they didn't like that. So they were examining my character for 5 days straight. Now on these jail record documents, it says that I signed my emergency contact over and the release of my mental like status and records, okay, to Timothy Conboy. I never did that. I never signed anything over to him. I never signed a gym. They said I signed a gym waiver. I never signed that. Or you would have taken me to the gym for like 1 hour or half hour free time every day. You never did that. You know what? They brought me a Bible, thankfully. So I'm in this, just imagine being in solitary confinement from being a free person, raising 4 girls by yourself, a single dad, being a hockey coach, football coach, working a corporate job, okay, going on a bunch of vacations with your family, and then just immediately put in a jail cell for 5 days straight. You're going to say some weird stuff, okay? And so I was like, I didn't know what else to do, so I started talking stuff out, writing. I started writing stuff down about what happened. I started reading the Bible out loud, okay? And it specifically says I got naked. Yeah, I like to walk around naked. So I was like, you're going to keep me in here for 5 days straight? I'm walking around naked. And nobody said anything to me about it, okay? But that's not something that's not a crisis. That's, you're treating me like an animal, okay? So on the 5th day, December 28th, I got released from this judge. Okay? She didn't order me to go to Regents Hospital or nothing. She said I'm free to go. So I go back down to the jail. I'm like so excited to finally get out of this solitary confinement for 5 days. On Christmas Eve, Christmas. And I go, I can at least, get New Year's and just relax. Okay? No. And then Dakota County crisis woman shows up, who my dad had sent. Okay? Because they said they were apparently, my dad was having them monitor me for a lot longer than I realized, okay? And she met with, I said, I'm not answering any of your questions. She had met me in this side holding room. I said, yep, I'm not answering any of your questions. I'm not answering any of your questions. I was kind of like, I don't know, sarcastic and mean to her a little bit. Because you're like, what are you doing? I'm getting out of jail. Get out of here, Dakota County Crisis. They actually end up putting me in an ambulance stretcher. I was strapped to a stretcher. Now, this was by a fire department, Hastings Fire Department, not ambulance. This was the fire. They're all Masons and Stones. If you're in the fire department, every single one of them is the Masons and Stones. They're like the listeners. And the reason why they're called the firefighters is they put out fires. When they get caught, they go put out fires. Okay? So my dad had me brought to Regents St. Paul 8th floor mental hospital, where I had to spend 3.5 weeks, okay, with actual crazy people, okay, where, I learned a lot. This is where I filed for divorce. I sued 4 different companies from a mental hospital, okay? I literally got all the lawsuits. You can go look on minnesotacourts.gov. That's where I did all that from. That's where I initiated all those cases from, was from a mental hospital at Regents St. Paul. And all the nurses knew I wasn't crazy. I didn't say a word to anybody. I had my Black's Law Dictionary. I read the Killing Jesus book, okay? I read this book called Choice Theory by Dr. William Glasser, a psychiatrist, okay? I read it. I learned a whole bunch. I did some art, painting. I was very nice to people for the most part, okay? And I met a lot of, not just crazy people, but, people that are misunderstood. Like I met this girl, Georgia, who had a lobotomy. She had part of her brain like fried because her parents said she was crazy, okay? I met this guy, Johnny Paul, who was like, He was an Edina guy. Very Catholic, brought up in a rich Catholic family. I learned a lot from this guy. Like regular society, like, oh, this guy's crazy, right? I remember Snakes, this guy in the Hells Angels. He's telling me the judges use Hells Angels to intimidate people and do their dirty work. And that's what the Hells Angels were used for, until I put a stop to that. Okay. I learned a lot from a lot of people in there, but everybody knew I didn't belong in there. And a lot of people knew, especially the nurses that were sent in there, they knew what I was in there for, was the Masons and Stones. I was talking about them. Now there's people that were sent into that mental hospital to check up, like for 1 or 2 days. They got released right away. Okay. But I thank you, the Regent St. Paul staff on the 8th floor. 3 meals a day. I had a beautiful window view. They let me write all day long. Okay. Put me to bed around 10 o'clock. I got my snacks. I thank my sister. She brought me all my legal documents to sue these companies. Brought me all my books, my Black's Law Dictionary. So I thank everybody in there, but I shouldn't have been in there. But I'm glad it happened, because I learned a lot. But that's what I went through at the start of this OFP, okay? And then I got arrested again in October 4th. This is 2023. 2023. The OFP with Kirsten would have expired pretty soon. And the reason why they had me arrested was I was out rollerblading on Pilot Knob Road. I lived right off Pilot Knob almost, in Apple Valley. And I was rollerblading by River Valley Church. Because this morning, my dad told me that he was going to Gunner's hockey game in Blaine. His championship game in Blaine. Okay? And I just had this funny feeling that he was going to see my kids, when I can't see them. They took them away from me. So I see him and Kirsten have their cars parked next to each other, okay? Which I have a recording of exactly what I said to her. So I see my dad leaving, so I start video recording him, which I have video of. Then I see Kirsten and all my little beautiful girls walking out of church right after my dad, okay? And then as they're getting in the car, I go, Madison, because she was the last girl to be getting in the car. I go, Madison, I love you. I love you. And she looked over at me. Okay? Kirsten told the Apple Valley police that I was screaming at her violently. I was screaming at her violently. I was like, what? I'm going to post the video of that too. I didn't say Kirsten's name once. So then I get a call from the Apple Valley police. I forget what his name was, Doofus. He wanted me to come in for questioning. I'm like, I know what you're trying to do. Okay. So this was, I believe, in September or August of 2023. August of 2023. So they had me arrested on October 4th. Now, about a week before this, I was home alone, and again, police surrounded my house, banging on every one of my doors. Andrew! Dakota County Crisis is there. And again, I'm not hanging out with anybody. I'm not going out. Oh, you know what I'm doing? I'm walking around my neighborhood, making videos, okay? Just calling what I see, making people feel very uncomfortable. I'm not hurting anybody, okay? So fast forward a week later, after the first police visit, and again, they waited till dark time, the week before my October 4th arrest. So fast forward to October 4th, I had just got back from a Florida vacation with my dad and Amy and my girls. Kirsten didn't come on this one, but she came on like a few other ones. And that vacation, I believe, was in July of 2023. After I got out of the mental hospital, they wanted, try to make me forget about the Masons and Stones and all this stuff. That Jesus isn't real. That's who the Masons and Stones is. That's the cross. Okay. So I get a message from this girl on Facebook while I'm in Florida on vacation with my daughters and my dad and my sister and her kids and her husband. okay, in Hutchinson Island, one of my favorite spots. Well, and her name was Stephanie Henson. She just, like, out of nowhere, she started messaging me. And I started this Facebook page called President Andrew Conboy, okay? And this is where I was uploading all my videos about the Masons and Stones and the Muslim Brotherhood, the Christian Brotherhood, all this stuff I was finding out, okay? Just walking around and investigating. So I get a message from her, and she asked me if I wanted to hang out. And again, I'm very lonely at this time, okay? This was the only, like, time I could see my girls, was on vacation with my dad. So I got back from Florida, and this was like September or whatever, maybe August. It was August vacation, maybe. Anyways, fast forward, Stephanie and I had hung out maybe two times, okay, before this October 4th arrest. So she asked me out of nowhere on October 4th to have me babysit her 5-year-old child, Avalani, at the time. Again, I don't even know the kid, okay? I don't even have custody of my kids. I'm being labeled a domestic abuser, right? In public. And I'm crazy and delusional and all this other stuff. So, like, if you were a parent of a 5-year-old child, would you ask that, like, that person, what people are describing him as, to babysit your child? Probably not, but Stephanie did. And I said no right away. I said, no, it's probably not a good idea. I think I have a warrant out for my arrest. So it's probably not a good idea for me to babysit Avalani. And she kept begging me. She said, please, so me and Erica can go out and do some, Erica, her sister, can go out and do, have some fun time. Okay, together. And I go, you know what? Then I was like, maybe I can use this for, like, court. Say, hey, look, somebody else is asking me to babysit their child. I'm not such a bad guy, right? So I caved in and I said yes. Okay, and it was weird. Stephanie dropped Avalani off, and Avalani, this is just before dark. She kept asking to go outside. Like, whenever we'd come back inside, she'd be like, oh, can we go back outside? Like, somebody told her before she went there, make sure you keep asking him to go outside. Like, somebody told her that, okay? Because it was awkward how many times she kept asking to go outside. I was like, and then when it finally got full, and every time she asked, I was like, yep, let's go play. Because I listen to kids. So it was fully dark out this time, and I pulled out a children's book, Little Blue Truck, beep, beep, beep. And Avalani was FaceTiming her Stephanie's mom, who works at the Burnsville Police Department, the city hall. I forget her name. She's FaceTiming. She called to FaceTime Avalani right when it turned dark. And I'm reading Little Blue Truck. Okay? Now, she's at home alone. Stephanie's mom. A person, like a family member who could be babysitting Stephanie, Avalani, the 5-year-old, instead of me. You know what I mean? So we go outside because after Little Blue Truck, and she hangs up on FaceTime with, God, I wish I remember her name. Stephanie's mom. So me and Avalani go outside, and I had my huge workout blue band tied to the tree because my daughters love, like, swinging on it and bouncing up and down. So that's what I started, like, bouncing her on the swing and pushing her because she liked that too. And then I hear, Andrew, freeze! And 8 apple, like, dude, there's police officers that came out of every part of my house. I had no trespassing signs up in the back and the front of my house for police. Like, no trespassing, specifically police. Okay? So they had their guns pointed at me and this 5-year-old child as I'm pushing, and I was like, literally I froze. I didn't want to move or anything. And I wish I would have got the officer's name that actually came up to me and arrested me, because he was literally dripping in sweat. Because he goes, Andrew, put your hands behind your back. Like, he was gonna, like, that guy was gonna shoot me. They had their guns out. Okay? So again, they arrested me behind my house in my backyard, where they don't have a warrant to go into my house, right? So as soon as he puts me in handcuffs, multiple officers, without even asking me to go in my house, go inside my house and start walking around and looking around. And this girl, this 5-year-old, is crying. Again, just like all my daughters did when they saw me get arrested. This 5-year-old, Avalani, was crying too. I was like, what the fuck? It didn't click at me at the time that Stephanie and her mom were literally setting me up to be arrested. Because again, my dad and sister had tried multiple times to get me to come. Dude, just come outside. We have to tell you something. Just come out here. I'm like, I'm not listening to you. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get me arrested. There's probably police out there. So that's what Stephanie did with Avalani. That's what they used to have me arrested. And that's what they were gonna kill me that night. Apple Valley police officers. They were gonna shoot me. And I don't believe in guns. Guns are for crazy people. No matter what profession you're in. Owning a gun says you're doing a premeditated act of violence. If you even think about owning a gun, or you do own a gun, this means you're willing to kill you're willing to take someone's life. And that's what their plan was that night. It wasn't to arrest me for a second time. Because again, I wouldn't shut up about the Masons and Stones, all the police corruption in the courts, okay? So on this night, they went into my house illegally, and it was Officer Lundgren at the time with the Apple Valley Police Department. He searched me in my house. I had my gray CCM hockey sweatpants on, and I think my daughter Miller's painting sweatshirt, my white sweatshirt with Ava's donut picture on the back. I had nothing in my pockets. So they were going to take me away without doing anything with the kid. They're like, who's this kid? What? They tried to play dumb. They knew whose kid it was. I go, I'm not leaving until I call the kid's mom. Okay? But they were going to take me regardless. They're like, no, it doesn't matter. And then they finally realized, oh, shit, this will prove that this was a setup. So they said, oh, okay. Then they finally let me have a phone call. And I called Stephanie, again, who was working with the police at the time as a police informant, apparently. And Stephanie and her relationship as a police informant or whatever mole goes all the way back to the Minneapolis riots, where police and rioters worked together to coordinate, destruction of buildings. Okay? Specifically a police precinct. And specifically inside the state capitol, where police let rioters, Masons and Stones, in the underground tunnels, okay, in a parking garage connected to the capitol, they let the rioters in these tunnels to get into the capitol unseen and go in and start destroying property. Okay? So this night, Officer Lundgren searched me right on my oven, and I don't know what they're looking for in my house. Multiple officers are walking around my house. All I have is I have all my books on my table. It's basically all I had left in my house. All I cared about, my computers, okay, a couple of cell phones maybe. But that was it. And now the night before, I had just got home from the zoo, and somebody had again broke the locks off my front door, the deadbolt, and in my garage. They broke them off. They broke into my house. And again, I'm not calling the police about this because, again, I don't trust them. I will never trust them. They're so corrupt in my mind. Okay, so I don't call the police for anything. But people broke into my house again. I mean, they tried to take me out the front door of my house. Okay, because I said the garage doesn't work and the garage door is just broken into. I told them that. It's on body cam. So they keep trying to open the front door. They keep trying to open it, and it won't open. So they finally have to take me again back out my back door, okay, where Officer Lundgren takes me and puts me at his squad car and searches me again. Now, on this time, I can see him. He's looking right across the street at OSMB's house. Okay, this guy in the Muslim Brotherhood, the lodge. He's looking right at it, like in the window. Okay? And he sticks his finger up my butt. on this search. I was like, whoa, dude, what are you doing? So on the way to Dakota County Jail this time, I'm chirping him about speeding. He's going like 10, 15 over the speed limit on the way to Dakota County Jail. And on this time, I get to jail. I'm like, dude, I'm not getting booked for this. And again, nobody reads me my Miranda rights. So when I got to the booking, before Officer Lindgren passed me off to Dakota County Jail, he goes, yeah, I'll see you never again. Like I was going to die or something. So when I get to jail, I refuse to get booked. So I'm still wearing my daughter's sweatshirt and my sweatpants. And they put me in like a holding tank or whatever. But I saw a judge right away the next morning. And again, they released me. And again, the judge and the judge's assistant was very surprised that I was still wearing all my stuff and I wasn't booked. Okay. This was Judge Iverson. It was Offerman, or I forget her previous name, but she got married. But this is Judge Iverson, who worked for Keith Ellison at the AG's office. Okay, so they didn't know I was coming to jail that day because I wasn't booked. Now this is where this lawyer shows up that my dad had hired, and I'm telling him I'm not guilty. I'm not guilty, dude. I'm not guilty. I have a recording of it. Okay, and he's like, dude, you gotta. He didn't say dude, but you have. I think you should plead guilty. I think you should plead guilty. I think you should plead guilty. He kept saying that. He's like, there's a better chance of you getting out. I was like, I'm like under a lot of stress. Okay, I'm like, I don't want to stay in here any longer. So that was the reason why I was like, oh, fine, I'll listen to this stupid idiot and plead guilty. Like he forced me into doing it. I told him I'm not guilty. I'm not guilty. I want to plead not guilty. And my lawyer, well, not even mine, my dad's, he just showed up out of nowhere. He knew I was in there. Now, when I first got arrested, there's no lawyer that showed up for me. But this time there was. They were ready. Like my dad had this lawyer ready to coerce me to plead guilty as I'm innocent. Okay? To literally, Madison, I love you. That's what I got arrested for. Telling my own daughter, who I haven't seen in it felt like an eternity, that I love her. Okay? So then and then again, Stephanie shows up at Dakota County. She knows when I'm getting released. She's literally waiting outside as I get released from jail. Again, police informant, Masons and Stones informant. Okay? And she works for the Muslim Brotherhood. So I get and Stephanie is waiting for me out of jail, takes me back to my house. So I didn't put any of this together until a few weeks after. Okay, I had an inkling, right? My instincts, my gut was telling me this is a setup from the very beginning. But again, Stephanie was the only one there for me to pick me up from jail. So she brings me back to my house. Okay, and I'm like, a couple months pass by, and I keep pushing off this hearing with my lawyer in the court about this second OFP violation. Now they had I got served in jail. They extended my OFP to like 2035. I'd be like 50 years old when I get to see my girls without an OFP in place. Okay? For saying, Madison, I love you. And again, they knew my girls are everything to me. So again, psychological warfare. So I push it off. I ended up I'm like, I got to get out of this state. That's where this all started, is they did not want me to leave Minnesota. Okay? My dad, Kirsten, even though they wouldn't allow me to see my girls, they really did not want me to leave Minnesota, because then I don't know what you want to call it. I'm a free bird. They don't have their spies everywhere from the churches and mosques being able to see everywhere I go and report back to them. Okay? So this time I'm like, I have to get I found this other retirement account I had with District 196, my para. There's like $6,000 or $7,000 in it, I think. I cashed that out. I'm like, I'm getting out of here. And I went to Florida in November of 2023. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna make this work. I'm gonna get a job down there. I had like $6,000. Okay. And I think I flew Stephanie down on this occasion and her daughter, and she let me drive her car down to Florida. That's how I got down there. And again, I went to Hutchinson Island Resort. Okay. And I was supposed to pick her and Avalani up from the airport, but I didn't have enough money to go for gas and I was getting unemployment at this time to go pick them up from the airport, which was like an hour and a half away. I had to wait one more day. So I told Stephanie, you're gonna have to get a ride. You have to take an Uber, okay? And I'll pay you back. That's what I said to her. She was so mad that I didn't go pick her up. I mean, I texted her like as she's on the plane okay? She gets to the hotel and like starts snapping. Okay? I'm like, what the heck? The next morning, I go down to the front desk because I'm gonna go get a pack of cigarettes with her car at the gas station. And the front desk lady says, sir, did you steal this car? Stephanie told the front desk at Hutchinson Island Resort that I stole her car. I stole her car. Like, I'm like, what? No. She let me, like, I flew them down here. She let me drive her car down, and I bought them plane tickets to Florida. Her and her daughter. So I'm like, you told the hotel that I stole your car? She's like, well, you didn't pick us up from the airport. I'm like, what the Again, she's been trying to set me up this entire time. A lot of stuff's happened with Stephanie. She's tried to have me violated for this OFP too by harassing Kirsten on the internet and like talking about my daughters and threatening them, and she's nuts. Okay, that's who the police informants are. So I go out from Hutchinson Island Resort Hotel, okay, and I get outside to go grab something out of the car instead of like driving it away. I don't want to think I'm stealing anything now. There's the sheriff's department, like 3 sheriffs sitting across the street. Like she had called the sheriffs there too. Okay. So now fast forward to January through April of 2024. After I was like, Stephanie, you got to get out of here. I kicked her out. I was like, you and your daughter need to get out of here. I had just bought, I mean, we're at this nice hotel. I bought her plane tickets, flew them down there. I was paying for the hotel. I just bought her dinner that night and her kid, whatever they wanted. And then she did that. She told them that night. So then she has a whole bunch of contacts. So she went and stayed with her friends, literally right down the street in Florida, from Hutchinson Island. Okay. So a couple days passed by and I had this really nice skimboard I bought at Ron John Search. That was like my favorite skimboard ever, right? Like $750. And I didn't have much money. And I left it at the Hutchinson Island like walkway to the beach that connects to the pool. Stephanie, as I'm sitting in the hot tub, okay, Stephanie and her friend come up and steal my skimboard and took it. Okay? So that was part of my trip. Because as fast forward to like a year later, we took another trip, I believe, to Texas. Or not Texas. I think maybe it was back in Florida again. Which again, didn't go well again. This is in August of 2024. Avalani, the girl who saw me get arrested, told me that her mom stole my skimboard. Like, that's how nuts she was. Okay? But on that trip, I was like, I need to go back to school and get a degree or something. Something was telling me to go to Michigan State University, my old school, my old stomping grounds, because I had a full scholarship there. I was trying to get it reinstated. So from January of 2024 to April of 2024, I was attending classes at Michigan State University, out of state. I was staying in a freshman. They put me in a freshman dorm in 606Ks. 606Ks. Okay? I learned so much. about the Masons and Stones. It's Masons and Stones University, by the way. And as I'm there, I realize, oh, our final divorce hearing is coming up in April, which I emailed Judge Knutson, who was overseeing our case at the time, who's friends with my dad, that I need a Zoom hearing approved to attend the divorce hearing, because I'm at college. I'm at Michigan State University. Okay. And I'm emailing him from my Michigan State University email address, him and the judicial assistant. They denied my Zoom request hearing. Okay. Now this hearing was, I believe, on April 23rd or 26th. Okay. Which would have been during finals. So my sister and my dad purposely, I kept asking, because I had no money. The whole reason when I went out there was because I had no money left, and it was like 4 months of free food. I got accepted. They gave me some money, and I got my, not actual money, but like money to go to school. It was like a loan, right? And I got my school ID, which gave me free food all over campus. That's basically why I went there. Free place to live and a free food. Okay? So I had no money to get back. Okay? And I'm asking my dad and my sister to book me a train ticket, an Amtrak ticket, to get back before my final divorce hearing. And I asked them they booked me a train ticket for after the divorce hearing on purpose. Okay? And then I realized that. So I said, Amy, I need an earlier one. Can you please move this up? Okay? And they refused to. They refused to move up my divorce hearing, or my train ticket, to make my divorce hearing in April. So I get back at the end of April. I got an Amtrak, and my sister calls me an Uber back. Okay? About, I think it was beginning of May, and I just had got a job at UPS in Eagan, okay, as a package handler. I was there for like maybe 4 or 5 days. I started April 29th, I think. So this is like beginning of May. So I text Stephanie, hey, I'm walking to your house. I was gonna go hang out with Stephanie. I'm walking from my house in Apple Valley to her house in Valley Park. I have my backpack, I think, and as I'm walking there, I'm pulled over by another Apple Valley police officer. I'm like, what the fuck did I do now? Now, I had just looked if I had warrants out for my arrest before I came back. I asked my sister, I go, do you know if there's any warrants out for my arrest? I'm scared to go back to Minnesota. There's still there's a new warrants out that when you looked up in the warrant checking system, my name did not come up. So Apple Valley police arrested me again, okay? And as they arrested me this time, in the front seat of their car was the Stingray device that they had been using to listen to all my calls. So after he arrested me, he brought this Stingray device, which can connect to any phone that's near and take its information, text messages, call logs, everything. Can listen to you. He takes it back to the station with the firefighter. With an Apple Valley fucking firefighter. Okay? So he takes me to Dakota County Jail. I'm like, what is it this time? Like, I'm innocent. I just got back from college. What do you guys want with me? I haven't contacted Kirsten, anything, my girls. It was for missing my divorce hearing. That I told Judge Knutson that I wouldn't be able to make it unless you granted my Zoom hearing to appear on Zoom. So again, another part of the warrant was from October 4th, they rearrested me for saying, Madison, I love you. Okay? So I get released right away this time. Okay? And I'm just like, what is going on here? What is going on here? Fast forward to July to August. They wouldn't let me sell my house either. the judges. Okay, I bought this house for $280,000 by myself before we were married. This was a premarital asset. This house was bought before me and Kirsten were ever married. Okay, they refused to let me sell a premarital asset. Okay, which is illegal. Then Kirsten's never been on the title or the deed, okay, or the property or the mortgage of this house. Not once. It's not automatic when you become married that, you know, your wife is just magically added. That's not how it works. You literally have to go sign it. Okay? So they forged my signature. Her and my dad and Amy contacted a title company. They contacted all the title companies. Okay? And they added Kirsten to the title of the house and forging my signature. Okay? So every time I went to go sell this house, the title company would not do it unless Kirsten signed. One of the guys looked at me, he said, "You're a domestic abuser. Oh, I'm not dealing with you." I'm like, what the fuck? Dude. Okay, and again, I had a bunch of offers for this house before it went in foreclosure, pre-foreclosure or whatever. I had a bunch of offers. Okay? Kirsten refused to sign, refused to reply. I even had finally, my sister found this lady from the church, shocker, a foreclosure specialist, she called herself. She said she would buy my house from me for $300,000. Meaning I would make, after everything, I would have made about $10,000. It was a little less than that. Okay? $10,000 is what I got for this house. I bought it for $280,000. They made me sell it for $300,000. Somehow they got Kirsten to sign this. It was a magic church deal. Okay? And I'm sure they gave Kirsten the rest of the money, whatever they really bought it for. Because this lady went and sold it for $425,000. $425,000 is what this house sold for. So I could have made, you know, $50,000 after splitting the $100,000 with Kirsten. They just did not want me to have much money. That's it. Okay? Which the judges prevented me from selling my house, a premarital asset. They put a freeze on it. Then they ended up awarding me the house in the divorce decree. Like I was awarded the property because it was a premarital asset. But Kirsten's lawyer and her and my dad had some cuckoo bird come through my house and say there was a whole bunch of like magical damage everywhere. There's no damage. There's no damage to the house. The only damage to the house was when Kirsten, she poops like giant footballs. She flooded our entire basement because she clogged the toilet and let it run for like an entire day. I come home from work and I went down to the basement to do laundry. I'm like, is it raining? No, there's poop in the kitchen toilet. And it's that's the only damage to the house was because of Kirsten. My dad kept saying, there's wires everywhere. There's wires everywhere. Dude, he's nuts. Okay? So they awarded Kirsten $85,000 in damages to the house that I got to sell for $300,000, which I made a $10,000 profit. They took these damages and added it to my child support rearment. They took damages to the house. They turned it into like a rearment and child support. So my rearment and and then they awarded, again, I'm representing my fucking self on an informa pauperis, meaning you don't have to pay lawyer fees or fees. Okay, it means you're a poor person. That's what a pauper is. They awarded her lawyer fees to me. So $15,000 in lawyer fees. Then another $15,000 in back child support. Okay, so at currently $125,000 after this was all said and done was put against me in it was called child support arrearment. Like, do you know how corrupt that is? Okay? And again, our entire marriage, I was basically almost all of our marriage, I was the only one working. Multiple jobs too. I was the only one making bill payments. She got a job, like her first job ever since we were together and had children was, I think, in like 2021. And I helped her get a resume going and everything for it. Even when she's living with her parents. Again, Kirsten moved out in 2019. 2019. She abandoned the marriage, abandoned our children, abandoned the home, which, again, you lose all your rights. If you abandon that house and you go move in somewhere else, that's when you legally lose all your rights to it. And the judges knew this because they can see her address. She got a ticket from the Apple Valley Police Department in 2021. Has her parents' address on there. Because she was living with them since 2019. So I wish people understand. This is a long, talk. But again, there's more to it. And they're mad that I remember everything. They're mad that the judges are mad that they feel like basically judges with mental disabilities when I bring all this stuff up to them. Because you're not upholding the law. You're not even trying to at all. So I don't trust the court system. I don't trust the police system. I don't trust it at all for them to do the right thing or even try to uphold the law. And that's why there's so much fraud in Minnesota. But I wish you would listen to this phone call with Kirsten in 2022 and just listen to how she sounds, right? This is when I'm about to leave to Florida, okay? I'm telling her, again, I was just telling her, I'm a one day at a time guy. I was telling her that I was moving to Florida because I wanted to see what was going to happen with her and my dad, who our entire marriage had this like secret behind the scenes like relationship. Okay? Planning stuff and all this stuff. Like he text messages with her all the time. Like more than me. Like he ran my entire marriage, my dad. He's a controlling sociopath. Okay? So I had a rough time with my mom, but being, what happened to her in March of 2021. And this progressively got worse with Kirsten and my dad, and my sister, okay? And then all these other people attacked. It was like the whole world was up against me, which it still kind of is. But I'm not going to stop fighting or talking about it. Like, I don't want to, there's no point in me even going to court anymore, it feels like. Because every time they don't even let me talk. They cut me off mid-sentence, postpone, okay, continuance, say I need to do this and that. Like they ordered me to take a 12 panel hair follicle drug test. I wasn't arrested for any drug offenses at all. This is because Kirsten and her lawyer asked for it. For me to take a drug test to see my kids. Again, I submitted my drug test from my doctor to court. It was literally a blood test, shows everything in my blood. But they wanted a hair follicle test. So again, this is why Judge Knutson proved he is a Mason and Stone. He ordered me a 12-point hair follicle drug test, like one of the most expensive drug tests you can take. Okay? And it doesn't even exist in Minnesota, really. There's only like 1 or 2 places you gotta go. I don't have a car at this time, okay? My daddy's not letting me use any cars at all to go do it. He's not paying for it like you normally would. It's like a $500 drug test, not covered, And again, I'm on informal pauperis, and Judge Knutson orders me a drug test. There's no drug offenses. I didn't get pulled over with drugs. They didn't even find drugs in my house. The Apple Valley Police Department, when they came in there, illegally, they never found drugs, sitting out. It's like, what are you going to test me for? At the time, I had a medical marijuana card, and I'm on Adderall, prescribed, legally. This is what they wanted me to take a drug test for. Legal prescriptions. A hair follicle test. Okay. Then they ordered me a whole bunch of like psychological and mental health counseling. I had to do that before I got to see my girls. So right now I'm in the process of trying to get all my medical records, one from Life Development Services, the other from ACP, Associated Clinic of Psychology, which ACP has actually been good. They've been like no issues getting them. But this life development resources place that I had to go for 6 months straight, okay? Every week, 6 months straight. They've been very defensive about giving me my own health records. Like this woman keeps saying that, oh, I have to send it. Like she's delayed it for a month. I requested them about a month ago. They're delayed. She still hasn't gotten them to me. Betsy. It's like so I have to get these health records and this drug test, submit it to Judge Staples to see my own children that I raised by myself. I'm not on drugs. I'm a FedEx driver. I'm a DOT driver. I had to take a drug test to get a job there. I had to pass a DOT physical. Okay? It's like, what the fuck? It's like, do you not want me to see? And then if you listen to this call with Kirsten, she makes it seem like I'm abandoning our girls and I don't want to see them. That's not the case. Like literally all I did was want to see them. Especially when I came back from Florida. Okay? My dad doesn't want me to see him. My sister doesn't want me to see him. Nobody wants me to see my own children, not even the judges. So part of me was thinking like, dude, did they tell them that I'm dead or something? Like, did they tell my daughters that I'm dead? Am I a dead man to my daughters? And again, if it's my daughters, they're like, you know what? I want nothing to do with daddy. That's fine. But can you at least tell me that? Huh. And I know that's not the case. If you're from Rosemount, if you're one of my girls' hockey players, if you're one of my 9th grade football players, okay? Or if you saw us at Lifetime, or if you saw me coaching my girls' sports, their hockey, their soccer, I was their coach. It's like you knew those girls were everything to me, and they loved, like, again, they love both their parents, but they loved me too. That summer of 2022, in like May and July, I had been called Father of the Year at Lifetime Fitness because I'd always take 4 girls there by myself. Okay? And just have all their snacks ready, diaper changes, bottles, formula. I was just ready to go. My mom taught me well how to take care of kids. Okay? Now, rewind to Jenny, I won't talk about it. But after my mom died, again, Kirsten she's like moved out since 2019. And we had this talk back and forth about seeing other people as we're still married. And again, me and Kirsten matched on Bumble. Me and Kirsten matched on Bumble. I had a screenshot of it, I think. But I met this girl, Jenny, who was my girlfriend for like the entire summer of 2021. And her kids and my kids got along great. And we hung out a lot. My dad and Kirsten did not like that. Specifically my dad. Because number one, he lost a little bit of his control over me and my girls, like the time with them. Because on my custody days, I would be hanging out with Jenny and her kids. I wouldn't be going to just like do whatever my dad wants, like it was normally. So Kirsten out of nowhere calls me after like things were getting kind of serious with me and Jenny after a couple months, like after the end of the summer. And Kirsten's like bawling, crying, I want to be a family again. I want to make stuff work. And I had always wanted that with Kirsten for our girls. And the reason I went separate ways is because, like, dude, you've been moved out for 2 years, Kirsten. You didn't even show up to my mom's funeral. You literally told me she was going to die. My mom's fat and going to die early. So I was like, I bet I have to move on for my own, like, well-being. So Kirsten was following me and Jenny around where we took our kids. And she'd like be texting me that she was going to have me arrested for adultery. It's like a church crime. It's not a legal crime to like see other people while you're married, especially when you're separated. We're legally married, but legally separated as well. Like, she's totally separated from the residence and the marriage. She's basically with my dad, married to my dad. And again, neither of them liked that I was finally found someone who they couldn't control. They could not control me or what my daughters were doing. So I finally caved after like 4 days of, I'm going to be blunt here. It was like blowjob from Jenny, blowjob from Kirsten never gave those. Like, it was like a war. Because Jenny knew, like, Kirsten was trying to get back with me. And Jenny knew that I would want to make it work for our kids. Because she knew what a good family guy I was. So I finally caved. I was like, I'll find Kirsten. So the night, basically, one night, I didn't respond to Jenny because I didn't know what to say to her. And Kirsten was at our house. Jenny shows up at our house, drunk. And Kirsten comes out to me in the garage because I'm smoking a bowl of weed. And she goes, your girlfriend's here. And I go, what? Tell her to leave. She lets Jenny in the house as our kids are sleeping upstairs, all of them. And Jenny comes into my garage, gets down on her knees, crying, telling me she loves me. She says, oh, in front of Kirsten, dude. It was like the wildest night of like, wow, I'm really loved, by women, these two. So I was like, you got to get out of here. I'm going to call the police if you don't leave. And I'm not a big police caller unless you take pictures of my children, like a creep. So anyways, Jenny and Kirsten actually sat on the front porch that night and talked for about an hour. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I don't know, Kirsten's plan was kind of like, it was, I don't know what you call it, maleficent. Because her goal was to break up me and Jenny. And she was ordered by my dad to get them broken up. So once she did her job, once Jenny left that night, literally the next morning, Kirsten left that night. She left that night, saying she was going to move back in the next day. Like literally the next day. The next morning, and again, she was supposed to drop the girls off at school. She was supposed to come back, we'll have breakfast and we're back together now. She was supposed to drop the girls off back at school. This was just at the start of the school year. She refused to do it. And she said, I'm done. I don't want to make it work anymore. Dude, the next day. So for 4 days, she pretended like she wanted it to work. Once she knew Jenny was never going to come back to me because they talked for like an hour. Kirsten's job was done. Dude, crazy shit. I wish I would have seen that one coming too. But again, I'm a nice, loving guy. Like I was very naive with women. I still am, but that's what happened to my life. Like, and I wish people can understand my side of the story. I know I'm painted to be like this bad guy. I don't know how to explain myself other than I'm a protective father, loving father. Okay. And I found out about stuff that I shouldn't have, ever known. I'm not in the Masons and Stones. So if you're not in the Masons and Stones, you're not supposed to find this stuff out that I was finding out and exposing. And that's part of the reason why they didn't like it. Again, Kirsten's a Catholic church girl too. Her dad's hardcore Catholic. Not hardcore, but like if you're Catholic, you're Catholic. My dad's Catholic. Again, same thing as Catholic is the Muslim Brotherhood. Muslim Brotherhood is Catholicism. Okay? Christian Brotherhood is the Muslim Brotherhood. Muslim Brotherhood is the Christian Brotherhood. That's the Masons and Stones. They control the floor. The checkerboard, the chessboard, the hockey floor, the football. They control all floor. Because they take every side. That they just, we'll take all sides. We'll have it all covered. That's how the Catholics and Muslims work. Okay? So they have never lost, power. So that's what I was up against, an entire cult. I still am. But I love this cult. They're, you know, they got a lot of stuff to work on, I guess. And you know what? I love Kirsten too. I love Jenny. I love Stephanie. I'm serious. Like, it's harder to love Stephanie because she's very vicious. Like, but I still love you, Stephanie. Because you know what? All those girls, they were little girls at once. Like I see them like my daughters. They hadn't had the life stolen out of them yet at that when they were little kids. Like almost every kid in the country and in our world gets literally sucked out of them. You know, by the time they leave high school, their inner child is sucked out of them. Okay? But just remember, we were all little kids once. I want people to understand that. That's what is stolen from you. Your golden ball. And it's inside us all. And you still have it deep down in there. Okay? But I love those three girls. And I wish I could make it still. I would wish I could make it work with Kirsten for my daughters. Like, not even if we were going to be like together as a couple. Just like, Kirsten, can you stop trying to destroy me? Like, honestly, that's what this was. It was really a hit job with her and my dad. Can you stop? I just want to see my daughters. What I'm asking for in this custody stuff was to see them one day a week for 6 hours on a Sunday, the only day I don't work. That's it. And the judge said I have to still submit my psychological and drug test. Like, dude. And then in this divorce decree, sure, if you want to go off that, judge, but it also says I have the right to go to my daughter's school and watch their activities. It says this on the last page of the divorce. I have the right to go to parent-teacher conferences, even if she's there. Okay? I still have rights as a parent that I'm not allowed to carry out, that have been stolen from me. Like every single right on that divorce decree, no matter how little it is, I have not been able to carry those out. Number one, because I have been intimidated to be even thinking about my daughters. Being arrested 3 times for nothing. Honestly. You people are cuckoo. And if you're a lawyer or a judge, I mean, you're literally clinically insane. What you do to people. That's the definition of psychosis, what you're going through. Same thing with police officers. All you chiefs of police, when I watched you give these news conferences during the ICE thing, the whole ICE capades, how they're destroying families. Dude, you guys do that on a daily basis. You did that to me. Local police, every police agency in Dakota County. So you should look in the mirror. You are family destroyers. Okay? You are psychotic. You carry guns around. That's like literally premeditated murder. You're saying you're willing to kill. That's what psychopaths do. They use guns and they destroy families. And they do it for money. That's psychopathic. Okay? Not trying to protect your family. Not trying to tell the truth about some stupid little cult. Not trying to talk to your daughters. That is not delusional. That's called, you know, having a heart. Trying to make it work with Kirsten, like, I tried every step of the way. What you judges, lawyers, prosecutors, district attorneys, police officers, social workers, okay, truancy officers like my dad, what you do is destroy families, okay, with your control and your power. You don't fix families. You don't make families better. Okay? So I wish you would understand that. What you do is what psychopathic adults do. And not the stuff you guys do for your jobs for money, what you do as an adult, you would have never thought of doing as a child, a young child, when you actually had hearts. Okay? So keep that in mind. You can come at me all you want. But Miller, Madison, and Quinn, I'm going to keep trying to vlog and journaling about what happened. But it was just like a hurricane. Like so much came at me. And again, you girls are and were and still my entire life. Like you changed my life. Okay? Every single one of you. Miller, Madison, Clayton, Quinsta, you might and still love. We had so much fun together. Like, there was never like a bad moment. Like, I was never like, oh, I need to get rid of these girls. No, that was your mom. She kept giving. I had the girls more before we were divorced, before all this happened. Even with Jenny, your mom still didn't. She was out dating, looking for partners. She was on Bumble, just like your daddy. Okay, me and your mom matched on Bumble. Okay, she wanted a lot of free time away from you girls, and I just picked up the slack. For example, when I helped Kirsten with her resume and let her use my computer, okay, after she had just, I think this is while I was just at the tail end of getting, her destroying my Jenny relationship, okay, or no, maybe it was a year before, okay. She comes over again. She constantly fought with me. Kirsten did. I helped her get a job at a work from home job where she had, for the first 2 weeks, she had to go to this office every day for training. I had the girls every day for those 2 weeks in a row to help Kirsten out. I didn't have to. I relished in the moment as a father. Okay? And again, anytime Kirsten wanted to drop them off early, anything she wanted, I catered to her needs. So did my dad, so did my mom, honestly. Okay, but when I started going on trips to Florida, I don't know who they thought I was working for. Okay? If I was like some secret government spy or something. Okay, I don't know who they thought I was working for. But they were very jealous, suspicious about my whereabouts. One time, I was trading in the stock market a lot. That's how I lost all my money. I went to this options trading conference down in Florida, like all by myself. Okay? And again, I was gonna go all by myself, right? But again, my dad refused. He refused to let me go. Again, I'm like 34 at this time. He came to me with this options trading conference in Florida. And again, my dad's in the Muslim fucking Brotherhood. And he thinks his own son is like working as like I don't know what they thought I was. But he wouldn't let me go book my own trip to Florida. It had to be with him. So before this trip, I asked Kirsten to watch the girls one night early. She snapped, refused to take them, all this yada, yada, yada. So I dropped the girls off there anyways. I brought her like a $200 grocery thing. And I have a video of this on my website. She demanded a check for $10,000. Just like she said I did with my dad. She demanded a check for $10,000 for the house. As she's living with her parents. Okay? And at first, she refused to open the door. I was like, Kirsten, please, I have to leave in the morning. Okay, this was at like 5 or 6 p.m. So I finally got her to take the girls. Okay, after I was like, okay, I'll go get my checkbook. And I went out to the van and I just drove away. I fucking fucked that. I brought her nice groceries and stuff. I said, bye girls, love you. So I get home and I'm packing for this trip for Florida. And this is about 9, it got dark. And I hear this pounding at my door. She's pounding. Kirsten showed up at my house. Left the girls with her parents at her parents' house. Okay. Saying, give me money, give me money. She kept asking for money. Because at this time I was doing well in options. She give me money, give me money. Literally. And I ignored her. I was like, I'm not dealing with this. This woman is crazy. So like 45 minutes of her pounding at the door. I refused to answer. I didn't even look at her. I turned up the music and I kept packing. And inside my house, I had all these diagrams of the stock market, each company that I had printed off, like how they're doing, their graphs, all the good stuff about them. I hear another pound at my door. It's an Apple Valley police officer. This is in 2021, I believe. There's a report of it. It's an Apple Valley police officer. I go, oh my gosh. I said, there's no parental agreement of parenting time. I just dropped the girls off early because I'm leaving for a trip early in the morning for Florida. Okay, and she's demanding that I give her money. I said I already gave her groceries for the week. Okay, I dropped the whole thing off of nice little groceries and bread, which she threw the bread. She threw the bread at me. But this officer came in my house looking at all these stock graphs and he came in to like look at my house. Because again, I don't know who Apple Valley Police or what they thought I was. Okay. But I was like, being the nice guy I am, he goes, she said she's here for gas money and you won't give her your daughter's shoes. Her parents have plenty of shoes for Quinn. She said I dropped Quinn off with no shoes. Who cares? Your kids, Quinn's 2.5, 3 at the time. Kirsten's parents have plenty of shoes at their house for Quinn. And that's why she showed up at my house, pounding on the door for an hour, then calling the police because I didn't answer it. So I gave this Apple Valley police officer, I was like, here's $200, give it to her. I want nothing to do with her. He goes, oh, I can't give her the money. You have to go give it to her. I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? So I walked out there. He saw me hand her the $200 in cash, gave her Quinn's little sandals. Hey, here you go. Bye. I was like, this is pathetic. So that's one small example of how Kirsten is like, if she doesn't get her way, you better watch out. And this wasn't the only thing. Okay? The stuff she was writing about me in this OFP, okay? We had a lot of fights, okay? I'm not denying that. But she said I never shared finances with her on one page of this OFP. And then the next 2 pages after that, she goes, Andrew came home frantically from work because he was depositing his paychecks directly into my bank account. Like, how can a judge not see that she's a liar right there? And this is where I'm picking on Dakota County judges, because again, they're brain dead, or they're corrupt, or they don't have reading comprehension, or they don't have a logic, legal, like moral compass at all, because they don't know how to read. Like if you saw that and you're like, all right, we're deciding on whether we're going to grant or deny this OFP, guys. Come on, judges, assistants, let's read this. It wasn't that long. You see that a woman says, Andrew never shared finances with me the entire marriage. And then 2 pages later, the same woman wrote, Andrew came home frantically from his work at Thomson Reuters because he was depositing his paychecks directly in my bank account. And he said that I wasn't paying the mortgage. Yeah, we needed to pay bills and you weren't paying them. That's why I was frantic. I was like, give me the checkbook. Give me your checkbook. Okay. So how can that be? How can Andrew never shares finances with me? And then Andrew was having his paychecks directly deposited in my bank account be true at the same time on the same legal document? How can that be true? Now, Apple Valley police officer, literally in his police report, says I gave her cash before we were divorced, before there was an agreement, very amicably too. And I didn't have to. I didn't have to give her any cash. I didn't have to even open the door for that police officer. But being the nice guy I am, I was like, just to go away, get away from me. Okay? So I went on this options trading thing in Florida, and my dad just kind of like he made sure he came with me to the options trading thing, like from our hotel. I was like, hey, you can just stay here. I'll just go by myself. It was literally the shittiest. It was like 12 people in there, like old people, and this like, it was this stuff I had heard before, and it was just like I was trading options, doing well, and I just wanted to like see what this was about, see if it'd be good. It was not worth my time, but my dad made sure he followed me there. He sat in the parking lot, and he like looked at all the car, like that's how crazy he is and controlling. Okay, so I'm gonna stop there. I gotta get to work. I love you guys. Have a great day. And I love my dad too, but it's hard to love someone who would destroy your life to protect their own crimes. I'm not a criminal. I was when I was a child, like small crimes, like, you know, a couple fights, drug offenses. When I was younger, I had reckless driving at Michigan State during my pro hockey career, but nothing like serious crimes, like but what the Masons and Stones do, like serious crimes. So to find out about, you know, your dad's in a big fucking criminal cult, and then he's the one to destroy your life. It's hard to love some people like that, but I still do. And again, he's my only like option for, again, the worst part about my mom's death, not that she was, I'm not going to get into it right now, but she left me her money. She left it to me. And they fucking finagled all that too. He took it all. Like, I didn't receive anything for my mother's death. Like, they do not want me to have any money. So he's fine, like 2 years living with Stephanie, fathering a child that's not mine, and then her having another child she told me that's not mine. Well, I help father her, buy diapers for her, and, you know, paycheck to paycheck. Like, she kicks me out, right? Because she thinks that I got this big $6,000 tax return for Boyan. I never got it. Stephanie or somebody took my tax return that I got in like $6,500. It's either in Stephanie's bank account, Michael's bank account, the child support arrearment account. It's not in my account. And this is what I was kicked out for. And again, I had nowhere else to go. So I walked to my dad's house. Okay? Hey, can I stay here tonight? I have nowhere else to go. Otherwise, I'll be sleeping on the street tonight. And this was on April 11th or 12th, I think. And he said, yep, but you're not staying here after this. He's like, I'll get you a car. We'll get you an apartment, a place to live. Okay? And like the next morning, he drove me to Lifetime, where I walked to work, and said that he's booking me a hotel, working on getting me a car, working on getting me an apartment, which again, I'm back to under their control umbrella. So I have to be very careful what I say. And luckily, everybody can hear me because, you know, thanks to the Masons and Stones nanotech, they have to pretend like it's not there, but they can hear everything I say. They bugged my I'm in this new Chevy Equinox, low voltage kicker in it that he customized for me. It's like I just feel trapped. I feel in this, like, I don't know, trap. I'm in a rat trap. I'm in a mouse trap. And we'll get into why my dad nicknamed my daughter Mouse later. I wish people could understand what I went through, and still are going through, and still have remained very positive and healthy with what they've tried to give me, like cancer. Well, it's fun, you guys. Mueller, Madison, and Clanton Quinn. If you ever watch this, if it ever makes it out there somewhere, I don't know, you'll understand where I was coming from. And I never wanted to be away from you girls. Never wanted to lose you. I was trying to protect you from the very beginning. That was it. And I did not want you to go to a Baptist school or church school. Right away, I was, you know, indifferent about it because, again, Grandpa signed you up for it, not me. He controlled everything. But once I found out what that stuff is, that's not what children should be learning right away in their life. The whole school system they do, not just the church ones, but it really messes children up. So I love you girls. And again, I hope you're happy. You know, whatever you believe in, I want you to have your own beliefs, not pushed on you by other people, especially older adults in our country. They're very dumb. They're very dumb people in this country. Not much brain cells, okay? Because they don't want change. They want the same thing over and over again. And they want to expect a little bit different result, which is kind of like the definition of insanity. So my way is, my wish for education would be, it should be constantly changing. Technology would constantly be changing, like totally. Our way of life would be changing if our education constantly changed. Okay, you'd have smarter people. You wouldn't all think the same. Like, I don't like how not only the religious education, but also public education, they're the exact same subjects. It's just in public education, they just don't teach you the Bible or the Quran. But other than that, it's all education that all kids learn in the United States and across most of the Western Hemisphere and the Eastern Hemisphere. It's from this act called the Old Deluder Satan Act, girls. It's before America was ever a country, and it's all education comes from religion, the religious hierarchy. So I don't want you near that, but no matter where you get an education, it's not good. Okay. And I never wanted you playing sports either, which I told my dad. I wanted you to be able to choose this stuff on your own. Okay. Obviously, I wanted you to be going to school, but after I found out what the Bible and Quran are, I wanted nothing to do with religious schools. Okay. Now, when your mom, I think this was in 2019 or 2020, when your mom officially moved to her parents' house, which you can see on District 196 records too, not just United States Postal Service. Your mom she took you out of Diamond Path where you're going to be enrolled, like right next to our house in Upper Valley, if you remember, Millard Madison. And she marked you all as homeschool. And this is how you ended up in First Baptist. Was your mom took you out of school without even notifying me. Okay? She did not notify me or anybody. She just called the district, okay? Said our kids were going to be homeschooled for the next year. And how I found out about this was I went to go to the parent orientation at Diamond Path at the beginning of the school year, and the secretary said that you girls were homeschooled. That's how I found out about it. So again, I tried calling her, and she wouldn't, talk about it or moving in, sure, like, even talk about it. Okay? So then a week later, her and Grandpa Tim work out a deal with First Baptist Church schooling. And I just had to go sign my name. They filled out all the paperwork for you. I had no choice in the matter. Again, basically my parental rights, other than watching you girls and, taking care of you, making sure you had food, changing diapers, making bottles, formulas, kind of like what my mom did, cooking, okay? She was my dad's slave. I was his slave I was him and Kirsten's slave for watching you. Okay, he got to go do all the fun stuff, take you to figure skating, take you out to eat, take you to the high school to do the gym stuff, okay? It was never the hard times, okay? Putting you to bed, giving you, shitty diapers, okay? Making sure you got to school on time, making your lunches, all that stuff. Okay, he was sign them up for sports and have a lot of fun with them. Kind of like our childhood, like with Grandma Kathy. She was the one doing the laundry, okay, cooking, doing the dishes, doing everything, putting everything away, cleaning the house, okay. And he just got to go do the sports at Rosemount High School, his favorite place to be. Where he wants you girls to go to school one day, where he wants to be principal to watch you come through. Because again, Grandpa is very controlling. So again, I didn't realize who or what my dad was and how crazy he was until what he did to me. I always felt, he was a role model, my dad, until he exposed himself and all of his friends. Okay? So I love you girls and I miss you. Hopefully you watch this one day and you can understand where I'm coming from. And again, you can call me crazy all you want, loser. Your mom called me a deadbeat a lot. Um, I just know I love you, girls, and it's not like I've wanted to be away from you. It's literally I've been arrested for trying to be with you. I've been literally shut off by my own dad for trying to have custody of my daughters. Like, he won't even help me pay for a drug test or, you know, use his judicial friends like he always has to get me out of this. Okay. He actually hired me a lawyer and then had this lawyer fire me 2 weeks after. That was it. And he hired this lawyer to make me plead guilty the second time I got arrested. And the first time your mom filed this OFP with Grandpa Tim, he hired a lawyer to make me accept this and not take it to trial. So that's what he's done for me the last 4 or 5 years. Just had me put in a mental hospital, in jail. And he gets to see you without me. That's what he likes. Yeah, so that's my dad. And that's my sister too. She gets to see my own kids without me seeing them. I'm no danger to you girls. That's what they keep saying. Alright, I love you.